Yeah.
You wanna
And
start?
um, I schedule it out because why do I schedule it out? Oh, because I'm screen sharing. So because I'm screen sharing on the computer, like if I was just going live on something triggered because an ad pulled up, awesome. Yeah, if I was just going live like using my phone or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't matter to me. I'd be very casual about it. But because I'm screen sharing, there's all this stuff with keys and I don't the mistakes that I made. I won't make them again, but there were a lot. The first time I did this, there were so many complications. I see that we are live because I'm looking at my desktop background, and Papa Joey's here. Papa Joey, what's going on? All
Papa
right,
Joey.
we're gonna have a great time today because we have Mike here. Normally, what I would do is I would have Mike or whoever the guest is kind of do what they do. So if they're a narrator, they'd go and they'd read a little something live, or in Mike's case, a very big. I've described him to other people as a walking cryptid encyclopedia. You know, it's a valuable thing. Um, Normally, I'd have that happen first, but Mike pretty much told me we can have him for the entire hour, and I was like, wow. Um, I do want to say so. My live chat numbers are definitely off right now. And this happens all the time. I've said that during your streams, Mike. Um,
Yeah.
my live chat numbers are off. I can tell by the comments coming in. But I do want to say very quickly what's going to happen today here is literally a drop in the bucket. We could give Mike the Naked Bigfoot 12 hours and there would still be way more to say. And so when you are done with this, when we're finished here, if you want more, there was a time when Mike the Naked Bigfoot almost never uploaded, and that was a sad time for all of us. It was a sad time for all. Um, but he's been uploading pretty regularly. How many times a week are you aiming for right now? Is it just once a week and there happens to be a lot of bonuses, or what? What do we?
My goal is twice a week,
Your
but
goal is
sometimes a third is thrown in. So
yeah, yeah. So, and these are not short uploads. He will go on and talk for about an hour about different topics. Uh, they are great. They do happen later on. Most of my evenings are I'm not super available, but if I happen to be available, it could come on like I just get notified from from nowhere like, oh, he just decided he's going on today. I'm gonna be there. It's an awesome time every time. So if you like what happens here today, if you enjoy hearing, if you have more questions, if you think of a question after the fact, you have to go to his channel. You have to. There's a bunch of videos there. Um, I'd argue they're somewhat bingeable. I give it, a somewhat bingeable. It's good content, uh, and you can go. And I'd imagine that you read through your comments, but just in case, worst case scenario, toss it on the next video that he puts up because he's been pretty good about uploading. So, Tenzin, what's going on? And the Jinx won. First timer here. Looks like it might be fun stuff to hear. It's going to be incredible. So, normally, like I said, I would have the person do their song and dance first, and then we'd kind of let our hair down a little bit. But because we have so much time with Mike the Naked Bigfoot, we're going to go and loosen up a little bit first, let some people filter in, and I feel like maybe a little bit of this loosening up might make it so people can think of questions that they potentially have. This is how unprepared I am.
yeah, please ask questions, people.
Yes.
I love answering questions. I'm very long-winded sometimes, so I'll have to be reined in. So
Yeah. Don't worry about it. I'm here. We got this. All right. So the first thing
The state of mind.
we're gonna
Um,
we're gonna go and make this big. I want to know, Mike the Naked Bigfoot. Have you seen this thing with Amber Heard over here? Do you recognize this?
sorry, I don't have you up. Hold on.
Oh no! You have to. You have to. You have to.
I'm that big of an asshole. Hold on.
Don't worry about it.
Motherfucker. Here we go. Oh, by the way, for those who are listening, I do like to cuss. So
Oh yeah, I
um,
should have. I should have warned you guys. He's
I do cuss.
it can definitely get like pretty serious, PG-13, sometimes rated R with the language. No.
Yeah, I'll try to control myself today because it's daytime. Usually my shows are at night, so I feel more freer to let it rip.
Right on.
But since we're on the day, I'm going to calm down. I see Amber Heard looking sad.
There we go. We're gonna press play here, and yes, the Jinx questions on any cryptid. It doesn't mean that he's like guaranteed to know everything about every cryptid, but he knows more than anybody I've ever had the privilege to speak to.
Toss it out, Jink.
You know what I mean? So, we'll go and we'll archive those right now. I want to know something very important to me. Does this look like Amber Heard sniffed cocaine in a courtroom? Do you think that she was sniffing cocaine here?
Dude, she was sniffing. She was getting so high.
Oh man!
I saw that. Yeah, she's snorting. There she goes. Yeah, she
looks around. She's like, little rosebud.
Dude, she put a nickel right up her nose. I mean,
oh man, you really committed to that. I slowed it down crazy hard so I could look at it myself. Where I was like, she's like, oh, I'm gonna look left, look right, nothing's going on. Just real quick, pinch the nostril. Here we go.
Nobody saw me do that, right?
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh, how?
Drugs, you can taste it in the back of your throat because if you watch her when she's done, she's like working her tongue around her mouth to get the taste out of her mouth.
Oh man, she did this one thing.
Nuts. Yeah,
she did this one thing that.
Watch her mouth. She's gonna get the taste out of her mouth. Watch. She's getting it off of her nose. She's getting the blow off her nose, and then watch her mouth. Shit. She works her tongue around and gets the taste of it.
Well, there's a couple of shots where this happens. These were the two where it looked like she pinched her nostril the best. I know what you're talking. There was another one, or maybe even two, where you see her. She runs her tongue around. Really, like obviously, you can see it. There was another one too that's not even one of these two where, in Spanish. I mean, I don't know a lot about these things. Not screwing around, but as I understand it, the word is madega. Like that's how people talk about it in New York. And she did the I love madega freaking with her finger with one of them. Where she freaking ran it up her nose, and I was like, that's not. I've never once tried to blow my nose and then rubbed up into my nose. She's freaking trying to catch something. Like, get all that in there. Oh, man.
He's going up to her knuckle, dude.
Seriously. I don't have. I obviously have thoughts and opinions about this trial. You know, whatever anybody thinks is fine by me. I'm sure there are plenty of people that both agree and disagree with me, and that's okay.
Batshit. She's like Hannibal Lecter in a dress. I mean, she's batshit crazy.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but with my ex-wife, things were pretty wild. Not we didn't have access to cocaine like like they do in Hollywood, so. And I'm very happy about that because we never had poop in the bed, but it was pretty rough sometimes. And then when Johnny Depp was talking about it, there's one point where he looks off to the left and stares blank. And I was like, I know exactly what that face is. What I was like, and then watch, he starts using language immediately that puts distance between him and the event. You know what I mean? Like, it was wild. There was some serious.
He thought about it for a minute.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's almost like his mind is like performing acrobatics to insulate him from what he's about to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I had to know. Yes, seriously. But I had to know if you. Does this look like she's sniffing coke to you?
Yeah, she's
all right.
She just took it right off of a hooker's butt, right up her nose.
Oh my gosh. Because Amanda was like, well, why would anybody do that? And I was like, not for nothing, but if you're chasing a high, that might have it might have improved the experience for her. You know what I mean? All right, so I have some cryptid memes for you to read. Oh, just to get things loose. It says here that the Jinx says that she's trying to pluck a nose hair to create tears. That's an option. I did hear somebody else say that she might have been trying to snort an irritant, like pepper or something, but she doesn't furrow her eyebrows, or her nostrils don't flare up the way that an irritant
Exactly.
that an irritant would create. But I mean, she is an actress. If she'd been using irritants for an extended period of time, she might have learned how to control that. That sort of.
She could have snorted a piece of onion.
Yeah, just freaking poked a little bit, a little piece.
I'm sorry. I'm just reaching out there a little bit, but I still think it's cocaine. So.
I mean, I I like funny things, and it'd be funny if it was cocaine.
Oh, it was cocaine. It was cocaine. It was the good cocaine too, not the shit I buy out here in
Oh
South
man. No, and like I said, that it wasn't in this one. I just took the two clips where she did like a really good pinch, but she did the I love Marega where she freaking ran her finger up the side of her nostril, and I was like, that's like, I don't know. I've never done cocaine. I'm a pretty straight edge kind of guy. I don't even drink that much. It's I drink once or twice a year. I drink once in the summer usually, and then maybe once at Christmas. So it's not me. And I mean, I much like everybody else, when I was 16, I tried pot. That wasn't for me. I just didn't like it. I did like alcohol though, but I don't do that anymore. Well, the thing was, they got this has a reverse tolerance. So what does that mean? It means you have to do a lot. Well, if I just take like a double of 151, there's no reverse tolerance. I know immediately. Like, there's an immediate response to my body. And what is it? It's a vasodilator, so that my arteries relax. My body's like, oh, this is really chill. And that's it. Now it's time to listen to music. I did it. Success. Over here, freaking smoke this, cough up a storm. Oh, it didn't work. You need more. No, get out of here. This is too much work. This is way too much work. 151.
Well, you tried the stuff I grow, dude. The stuff I grow is freaking amazing. If you take one puff of that stuff, you are in another world very quickly.
Oh, man, maybe that's another thing too. If I'm sure that if we lived closer together, we would have hung out. We'd be hanging out a lot more often. I can almost guarantee it. I like Mountain
I can
Dew.
show you the special grow house that I have.
Nice. All right. So, Tenzin asked a cryptid question. He wants to know what is the difference, or is there a difference between the Wolfman and a werewolf?
Yes.
All right.
That's the short answer. The more involved answer is there's no such thing as a wolf man. There are varieties of things that we call werewolves. There is something called a man wolf. I've heard the wolfman used to describe wolves in nature that become men. The reverse of a werewolf.
Mm.
There's actually a tribe of such critters that are well known in Native American lore, Western Native American lore, the Coyotero, and those are wolves that assume the form of men, and they hunt people.
As people, or like do they revert back to wolf form, or
both? When they are, you have to think of them as mercenaries in the cryptid world. They're incredibly intelligent. They exist in packs. They live in packs. When they're dealing back in the day when there were more tribes and the tribes were out and about, when a tribe needed to go to war with another tribe, but they didn't have the strength, they would always enlist they would pay the local Coyotero to come and join them, because any tribe that saw members of the Coyotero tribe that came after them usually fled. Because the Coyotero, they took two parts in their payment. The first part was in whatever they had, trade, furs, whatever. They could trade for it, food items, earthenware, stuff like that. The other half is they were allowed to keep the dead that on the battlefield to consume.
oh man.
Yeah, the Coyotero are a fascinating tribe.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. in anatomy and physiology, they say that structure has to match function. You know, like I mean, you see it sometimes. My pops, he's really good at fixing things, and the washing machine wasn't working years ago, and so he went in, and he had never seen the machine, the way that it was set up. He'd never seen it done before, but because he knew what the machine was supposed to do, and saw the parts, he was able to figure out what was malfunctioning, and that is how things work out. There's a need for warriors, soldiers. You know, there is, and
Well, the Coiltero adapted their habits to meet a need because there weren't many of them in existence.
yeah.
And they had a finite existence. They weren't these immortal creatures. They would die, and they needed human females in order to reproduce because they had no females amongst their own kind.
So they ended up. So there are hybrids then of not the original. They're later on. There are hybrids of this wolf.
No, they're not hybrids because a Coiltero is a woman who is carrying a Coiltero's baby is carrying a Coiltero. They have the spirit of the Coiltero that enters their body during the conception.
Is it guaranteed to be born male then?
Every time, and the female will die during childbirth.
Oh, that's. Ooh.
It's a guarantee.
That's a tough one.
And then the baby is left out, and the baby is picked up by the tribe and taken away to be raised by the rest of them.
Mm.
I heard some great stories about those things.
All right. Sandy asked if they look human. I guess you said they turn back and forth between like wolf form and like human form, yeah?
Yeah, the human form, they're very muscular, feral looking humans.
Do they look like a werewolf or a wolf man, or do they look more human than that? Or
they look a lot more human, except for their eyes. Their eyes always retained a yellow cast to them. They were easy to tell. Plus, horses were definitely afraid of them when they were in their human form. It was easy to spot them when they came into a village because babies would begin to cry and the horses would try to shy away and try to get away from them as fast as possible. So.
Okay. Yeah, no problem, Tenzin. Remember, guys, so we're going to go definitely through the chat, get the questions, but if you think of a question later on, I'm going to go I think there's already an @ symbol in the title of this video. If you click it, it'll take you straight to his channel. He is a walking, talking cryptid encyclopedia. Okay, I can't guarantee that he knows everything. I feel like no one knows everything, and no one of us knows as much as all of us. But if you have a cryptid question, he is the guy. Also, he is a voodoo priest. Did I say that correct this time? Is that good?
Yeah, that's a generic term for it.
What's the special term? I'm sorry. What's the special term?
I know I've been busting your balls about it. But that's a lot of fun. I'm not offended.
All right.
When you say voodoo priest, it can be a female is called a woman is called a mambo, male is a hungan, and then the flip side of that is the bakor.
Why the flip side? See, I don't even know this. We're gonna learn all kinds of stuff. What does the flip side mean? Is bakor like the lights, like the dark side?
That's a way of putting it. They're unscrupulous. They do things for personal acquisitions of power and money.
Wouldn't that be a dangerous thing to practice? Like if you okay, so I personally, the only things I know about voodoo are things that I've heard you say, but voodoo kind of walks in step with a lot of other things in that there is a balance to the world. And no,
they don't. They're completely the antithesis of life. They revel in the debauchery. They perform human sacrifices, usually babies' blood sacrifices. They have no compunctions against hurting someone for the smallest slight they feel that was made against them. They're animals. They're animals, and they should, in my opinion, they should all be put down. But I
Is,
need to I probably need to shut my mouth because I go on a rant every time I start talking about them. So
is there like a spiritual deficiency that appears to like a threat? Like you know how you can have genetic anomalies in humans, and sometimes they're positive and sometimes they're negative. Is there some kind of spiritual anomaly that exists among all these, like a thread that you can see, kind of, or no? Is it kind of is it more random, or is it something that you maybe it's something you don't fully understand even, like where are we there?
well, it's human nature. It's about making choices, and usually you can see when you see a child growing up in the faith. When you have a child growing up that in a family that practices the faith, you can usually observe, how they talk about, you can see somebody that could possibly become a serial killer or a sociopath or a serial killer from that, by their actions.
Mm-hmm.
There are telltale signs in children as they're growing up that they have they're going to have tendencies to want to inflict harm, on others and around the world using the faith. And usually you try to steer them away from it, or when they grow up, you try to keep an eye on them.
Hmm.
We don't push them out, because usually 9 times out of 10, when you push somebody out that has those tendencies out of the faith, you're guaranteed to get something negative out of it.
That's where I was about to go. Community solves all kinds of problems. Even they've done studies. If you look up on Google, I think look up like scientific study rat park. Some scientists got some rats addicted to, I don't recall what drug it was, but eventually the rats chose the drug over food and water, and they would die when they were isolated. But when they were put with other rats in rat park, some of them would use and some of them wouldn't, and they would just play all day. This worked out, so none of them died. None of them used in excess to the point of death. And then there was they took some of them and got them addicted first, and then introduced them to rat park after being addicted already, and it actually solved the addiction problem. Like they would still use from time to time, but they just wanted to play and be with the other rats. So yeah, that is interesting. That spiritually the same thing. You see, it's like, oh, this is the deficiency here. If you kick them out, the odds of it eating them up is a lot higher. All right, we have a question from from the Jinx One. Any info on devil monkeys? From a few stories I've heard, they are pretty scary. Do you know about devil monkeys?
I do know about the devil monkey story, about
Okay.
the evil monkeys that attack people out in Lover's Lane and on the back roads.
Okay.
I have absolutely no experience with them, but it's one of the few stories. I always feel there's a spark of truth in a lot of the urban legends that I used to travel around
Mm-hmm.
and seek out. Had a spark of truth to them, enough truth to make me want to learn more about them.
Mm-hmm.
The devil monkeys did not seem to have that spark of truth to them.
Okay. Okay. So maybe people making things up, or someone on some wild peyote, or other things
The
maybe.
devil monkey thing, I think, is still an urban legend. Now I've said in the past that sometimes urban legends can become reality. If enough people believe in them and enough people craft them in their mind and in their stories, they can become a reality. But as of to date, I have not heard of a recent devil monkey sighting or an attack by a devil monkey recently.
Okay. Right on. Tenzin.
Yeah, they could go tulpa real easy, but I've never heard of that happening. So the story of the devil monkey is so nebulous that it doesn't gain enough strength to become a reality. So
Okay. And there is an episode on your channel where you bring these things up. Just want to put that out there. If someone wants an in-depth kind of explanation about this,
that is true.
I think I was there live. If I wasn't there live for that, I do watch the replays when I can't get on live. I think I might have been live for that one. But that was,
I talk about belief and how things can be created through the power of belief. So
yep. And you also, to rewind back a couple seconds, you also have one where you talk about, what was it? It wasn't werewolves. There was a name. Was it? No, you didn't call them werewolves, I don't think. But you said they like hung out on like biker bars, like these really tough alpha.
lycanthropes.
There we go. Yeah, that was a great episode. If you want,
That was my werewolf study, where I talked about the three classifications of a werewolf, and
there we go.
uh, the
So
lycanthrope, the hexen wolf, and the lugaroo.
there we go. So if
Yeah.
anyone like has like if you we answered a little bit about the wolf man and the werewolf, but if you want to know even more, there is a whole 1 hour, more than likely 1 hour video on his channel about the subject. I watched that one too. So I definitely recommend it. Um, Sandy says that she needs a Voodoo 101, and then that kind of syncs up with Tenzin, who is asking about whether or not voodoo dolls are real. Do they work the way they're depicted in books or in Hollywood?
Yes and no. We don't call them voodoo dolls. They're called we in the faith they're called fetishes. When you create a fetish, you're creating a likeness that acts as a conduit to. Also called sympathetic magic. In more new age circles, where you have an object that you are using to set up a channel between uh, yourself and that person, and you're reaching out to either help or harm that person. And they can be used to harm. They can be used to teach lessons. They can be used to help people, to heal people. They can also be used to cause sickness. You can also use them to drive people so crazy that they will actually harm themselves or kill themselves.
All right, I have a question about this. Um, do you feel like someone can go and practice something like this with the intent of doing harm without causing themselves some kind of spiritual harm or spiritual mental damage? Do you know what I mean? Like if I go and I'm like, I want to cause harm to Mike the Naked Bigfoot, and I start focusing my intentions and my energy in that direction, do you think that I can do that safely without it also, like without it hurting me also, without it costing me something?
No, it will cost you. It'll cost you your sanity. It'll cost you, if you believe in a soul, whether you believe in a soul or not, it will cost you that. But it will cost you your sanity, most assuredly, over time.
So
Um,
so if
it'll corrode your personality, and it'll corrode your sanity quite quickly.
Yeah, see, that is exactly how I feel, that you cannot go out with that kind of like, because that's a really focused. What you're essentially doing is you're using an object to focus your energy, kind of the way Catholics use statues and like a rosary, that sort of thing. You're using this object to focus.
We were saying that because that's actually a lot of where the Catholics. Man, I'm getting ready to talk about this. Um, a lot of the trappings in the Catholic Church, like like the statuary, like the candles that have the images of
Mm-hmm.
Horatia. Y'all don't call them Horatia. We call them Horatia. Y'all, the saints,
Mm-hmm.
um, that they use to make contact with them, to pray to, and to ask them for guidance, or ask them for healing, or ask them for something. That's something that was taken directly from our faith, in one form or another.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you know anyone that practices Santeria, but uh, as I
Oh
under,
yeah, I do.
as I understand it, Santeria is Haitian voodoo that was adapted by Spanish Catholics.
Yeah, they it went more into the Catholic side of it. It went into the Candomblé side of it, which
Mm-hmm.
is really twisted blood shit. Um, they 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 took the concept of the Nganga, which is the focus of a Santeria,
Mm-hmm.
is the focus of a Santeria altar or a place of worship, and made it something bloody and disgusting, in my opinion.
Okay. Now, my thing is, so if you are raised amongst people that are of, I guess you mentioned you called it the faith, so people that have faith in voodoo or of the voodoo faith, um,
And of the blood. Yeah.
uh, what would what would possess somebody to think that they're gonna go like that they would have the ability to use a fetish or some other focus object to focus negative energy and to not, you understand what I'm saying, like and think like, well, I will somehow walk away from this unscathed. Is like I'm. Is it just arrogance, like, or like, you know, teenage hubris? Oh, this can't hurt me. I will go and put out this negativity, but somehow, even though everybody around me recognizes that, you know what I mean. When you look into the abyss looks back, right? Um, why would
Well,
somebody think this? Like how?
they made a choice. They're making a conscious choice to do this. I've had this discussion with people. And I'm about to, it's going to sound really cold and assholey what I'm getting ready to say. Um, but I've had this conversation. I've sat down with people and said, you've made this choice. There's no coming back from it. There's no redemption from this choice.
Really?
You flip the switch. You're gone. Um, I can't help you. You can only help yourself from here on out.
Well,
But there's no hope. Once you flip that switch, you're gone. You no longer tread upon the serpent's back and revel in the revel in the light. You're now walking in the shadows of the serpent. No longer able to see the colors that shed from the skin as the sun shines upon the serpent. You're gone. Wow, I just got really, really faithy right there.
so now, see, now this is what I'm talking about. These are the questions that I had that I didn't know I had because I didn't have the information before. So if someone goes and goes down, makes some very poor decisions, I apologize, I've already forgotten the word that you've used for, we'll say a more selfish voodoo practitioner.
Or
Say again?
a bakor.
Bakor, thank you.
You have to remember, not all people become bakor. Bakor is a priest unto itself.
Yes.
They delight in corrupting other people, and using other people.
Has anyone ever has there ever been a Bakor that, you know, through some other means has come to see the light and, you know, decided that they wanted to undo the bad that they've done, you know, and so they could tread upon the serpent's back, sort of, you know?
They've already made their choices in the eyes of the Loa. The Loa will never accept them back onto the serpent's back. So their choice was made.
That's a hard teaching. It's a very hard teaching. How difficult is it to make this decision? Like it can't be like pulling the trigger of a gun. That's a very easy thing to do. Hopefully there are barriers to making such a committed decision.
The faith is the barrier. Whether or not they believe that what they want out of life is what the faith can help provide for them. If they don't see that the faith is helping them achieve what they want out of life, and they look towards the more sketchier, darker areas of the faith to achieve that, then they've made a choice. They've made an active choice to turn away from the faith and go into something much darker.
All
It's
right.
a choice. It's an absolute choice.
We're going to ask the Jinx question, and then I have another question written down. But we're going to ask the Jinx first, because even though I'm hosting, I believe in taking turns. And the Jinx asked first, so we're going to recognize that. The Jinx asked, is there a way to kill a dogman? Also, the best way to defend your home against them. If there's a more general way, like if there's a general defense against, you know, the dark arts or whatever, feel free to toss that in there too. Or if it happens to be the same answer, definitely let us know.
Now, if you're talking about a dogman, now the Michigan dogman is something completely different. I believe the Michigan dogman is a varger, which is a race unto itself. And there's no way to keep a varger from, if it wants to come in. And varger, by the way, is the German word for wolf. And they are originally a tribe that left Germany, left the Ottoman Empire, went through Europe and found their way to the United States. They're a foul bunch. In some of the cases that people are seeing that they think are the dogman, or the wolfman. if they see something that looks like a wolf, 9 times out of the 10, it's going to be a varger that's out there hunting in the woods or hunting in an urban setting. Sometimes a rural setting, but most of the time it's an urban setting, because they can get away with the shit they get away with easier in a city than they can anywhere else. Um, Nessie with a gun, dude. My concentration just went out the toilet.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You can't keep a varger out of your. But if it's some of the more interesting supernatural predators that take the form of and I'm going to say it with quotation marks, with air quotes, a wolf man, if it's something from the spiritual world that's manifested itself to appear as that, there are ways to bar these spiritual manifestations from entering your homes. The ash from juniper ash is one way of sealing your home to keep them from crossing over it.
I don't think you have a video on this, do you?
Oh, what, sealing shit away?
Yeah, do you have a video on this yet? If not, you should
No,
this should be a future video if you don't have, because I don't remember.
I'm always afraid of sharing folk magic with people,
Okay.
because it can really do really bad things to people if they don't do it correctly. So
I mean,
I'm kind of hesitant, but I'll share it. Now people come to me and I'll give them the recipe on how to mix things up,
hmm
and how to do it correctly, and what time of day to do it in, and what time of year to put it out at. But you got to be careful. Usually, if you're trying to keep a spiritual entity, whether it's assuming a physical form or not, out of your house, if you either keep a satchel of dried rue or a plant rue outside of your house where your doorways are at, none of that stuff can enter into your yard or your property or walk into your house when you have rue growing there. Rue was actually used in Europe. It was planted on graves of people. They were afraid. They were such evil people in life that they feared that they would come out of the graves in the afterlife and come back to continue to do the evil things that they did. They actually planted rue on their grave, to keep them in the ground, so they couldn't rise back up and continue to do the evil things they did.
Okay. And we were talking before about Bakor and using extraordinary means. We'll say, do you think right now that anyone in Hollywood or a politician, any of these people, do you think any of them are Bakor?
No, but I think a few of them use them as their spiritual guide, because in Hollywood they always love their spiritual guides and their psychics and their mediums. And don't get me started about psychics and mediums. I got a show about that too. That one pissed off a lot of people. But I believe that they do go to these people, but you have to remember there's so much negative shit out of Hollywood, about the faith, about Voodoo, that a lot of people don't willingly go there and seek answers or seek information or seek power from it. The few that are in the know, they'll go do it. So it's rare. It's rare. There's probably a few of them out there that do seek consultation with a Bakor. I have to remember the history of Haiti too, with Duvalier and Papa Doc and Baby Doc. Most of the people they staffed when they ran Haiti with an iron fist and drove out the Hungan and drove out the Mambos out of Haiti. They were Bakor that they used to scare, frighten, and subjugate the people until finally they rose up and killed them. So. Are you still there?
I am still here. I was writing some stuff down because I don't want to forget.
Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I just don't want to forget anything.
Yeah. There's only one movie out there that comes really close to understanding the faith and understanding the love, and both the love and the fear of the faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of Hollywood shit in it too, but it gives a relatively good understanding of the faith, besides the Hollywood shit that's thrown in to make people watch the movie.
Sure.
And that was The Serpent and the Rainbow. Wes Craven's The Serpent and the Rainbow from the 80s. going on right now.
All right, we have some people here, and we are back. Everything is a mess. I can't even. My son just sent me a text message before we were gone. He's like, "Did our internet just go?" Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, our internet is just gone." It was crazy. I thought that Mike the Naked Bigfoot dropped. And then he was like, "Dude, you're not gonna believe what happened here." I was like, "You better not say anything. This isn't even correct. Look, this whole thing is a mess. Come solve a mystery. Pain Squid killing. This is a mess." But we're back. At the end of this, I'm gonna go and rip both videos, and I will stitch them together in my software, and it's gonna get uploaded that way. It does mean we're gonna lose the live chat. I am sorry about that, but I have been reading the questions out, so we have that there. But this is crazy. And so Mike was like, you will never believe whatever. And I was like, you don't say a single word until we're live again. You don't talk about this until we're live. I'm going to, while he goes and says these things, I'm going to see if I can get things a little more normal on my end. I'm going to see if I can get the chat on my phone like I normally have it, so we don't have this infinite screen thing that we're looking at right now. But I appreciate... This was not at all scripted. This is absolutely insane. And also, this is not... I mean, I live in the mountains. It's a beautiful sunny day. If you look up the Pocono weather right now... Yeah, I don't even see a cloud in the sky out my window right now. So yeah, if it was windy, if there was rain, if there was snow, these things, they happen from time to time. I've streamed during these conditions and did not drop. It is a beautiful sunny day, 66 degrees.
Welcome to Paranormal Activity, courtesy of the Naked Bigfoot. So.
Yeah, this is wild. So all right, go for it, and I'm gonna go, and please tell me that is telling me that I'm live. Please tell me that's what that is.
Okay. I have a little spirit girl that's been my companion for nearly my entire life. And she manifested right before we dropped and was moving towards the edge of the bed that I'm sitting on. And she was frowning, and she reached out and touched my device, and your voice got really garbled. And she said just one word, "No," and then was gone, and that's when you were gone.
That's freaking
so she
crazy.
Didn't, for some reason, she didn't care about some of the things I was talking about, probably, or some of the things that were being asked, or some of the things that you were saying.
My cell phone is also frozen right now. I'm trying to get to the live on my cell phone so I can go and click watch on YouTube. And you know that little circle that, like, you know, the loading thing?
Yeah.
It stopped. It's literally a dot.
Yeah, dude, she reached out and touched you.
This is not something I need. You guys have to give me a second. I got to get my son. Like, because I need someone to record what's happening. This doesn't make any sense. This is
Right now, the room is incredibly cold right now, and my skin is very hot. So I'll let y'all decide on the situation of what's going on right now.
When I watch Skinwalker Ranch, and that's a fun show. If you don't watch it, like, I recommend it. It's a fun show. When I see this happen, I immediately, this is bullshit. And it just straight happened to me. I don't even know. This is nuts. All right, listen, I'm gonna be right back. I just gotta get my son so he can record this with his phone. I'm gonna stitch all this together. This is, it dropped though. The app just closed itself.
Yeah.
What the hell is
It's
this?
going to get worse.
What the hell
Every
is
time
this?
you try, it's going to get worse.
I can't. I
It's not
really
gonna stop.
I can't, guys. I really can't. This is crazy. This is crazy. I've not.
He's not.
I'm not that guy to sit there and mess around and, you know, like, ha ha ha, we're playing jokes. I'm too old for that stuff. All right, I'm being really serious here. I'm too old for that nonsense. I take very good care of my computer, my cell phone. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm very good with these items, and everything just crashed. And
Yeah.
and on my end, it looked normal. On my end, everything was like, oh, this all looks normal. Something happened to him, and then Papa Joey in the last chat was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Holy.
The shit started hitting the fan.
Yeah.
Plus the Loa intercede too, on occasion. So I don't feel their hand on my shoulder right now. So I don't believe they're in the room right now, but I know she's in here, and she's not mad, but she's disappointed.
Okay. I just got in on my phone. So now I can run chat like I normally would.
Do you have
But
insurance on your phone?
oh, no, and then you know how it works out. Like I have one more payment on this phone. I'm not even joking. I have one more payment on it.
You better have the turn in whatever condition to get a new phone thing going on.
Oh man. No, the so I did not go and get my son specifically because what my YouTube app just crashed, my studio app.
Yeah.
It doesn't. That's not something that ever happens. It doesn't even matter if it's raining outside because it's housed inside. It'll just keep spinning and then say internet error, whatever. The circle it did the circle, but it's like the
How do
circle.
you feel right now?
Huh? How do I feel? This is
Yeah.
crazy. What do you mean? What kind
How
of?
do you feel?
I have a pretty there's a pretty wicked adrenaline rush right now. Like this is very, like what I need you to ask me a more specific question. I'll give you a more specific answer. I'm not intentionally trying to be like cryptic here,
I know.
but yes, there
Well,
was just
my
a wicked
question-
adrenaline
my
dump
question-
in my head right now, cause this is crazy.
How are you feeling any temperature changes, or
Behind my ears is hot.
do you have any? You have your headphones on?
I always have them on one ear and then the other ear so I can hear out in case the dogs or someone calls
Yeah.
my name.
That's a point of contact then. Are your hands numb right now, and your feet numb?
Not 100. There is a little bit of pins and needles, but I do have feelings. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a little, like, my hands right now are resting on my desk, but I'm pretty sure if I did not have them on my desk, like if I had them suspended, they'd be shaking, but like because they're like on my desk. Because
Yeah.
this is crazy. This is I don't even know. I don't even know. And yeah, Mrs.
Yeah.
SHS is going to be like, I missed that.
You're being touched by a not so angel right now. So
That's freaking wild. Oh, man.
so my guess is she's still working on you as we speak.
Ugh.
She's been a bit more aggressive as of the last 6 months, so, and a bit more protective. So
Whew, man. Yeah, Tenzin asked, you're not showing up. Oh my gosh. So my cup of Zen, that's Mrs. SHS. Oh my gosh, Amanda, you missed it. I'm gonna stitch it all together, but all that stuff that when we watch Skinwalker Ranch and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's
What's
some
happening?
fabricated bullshit. You know what I mean? Like this is too weird. Like no.
Yeah.
It just happened here. The internet crashed. No reason at all. My phone froze up. My freaking YouTube app crashed. Like our entire setup. And I apologize if this is like boring for everybody else that is not experiencing this right now. I can understand how this does not sound like, as a narrative, this isn't very good. But I am currently living this right now. This is happening
You've
real
never had this
time.
happen before, have you?
No, I'm not. Well, I lie though. So one time, freaking about to chew some gum. I need to ease up a little bit. I need some gum. So when I was maybe 16, I was in the dining room, and I walked by the table, and then I heard, like I knocked the glass of water, and I heard it. I heard it crash on the ground. Well, I turned around like shit, and the glass lands in my hand. It never hit the ground. And yes, this experience here is very similar to that experience.
As
Like,
far as sensations are going in.
yes. Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting there holding the glass. I turned around because I heard it hit the ground and break. You know.
She just whispered, "Aren't you something interesting?" I don't know what that meant.
She's interested in you. Mike the Naked Bigfoot is a very interesting fellow.
No, she's interested in you.
Oh. Well, I'm very handsome, so just saying. You know.
I had to make you laugh.
Oh man.
Because I know it can be unnerving when it happens.
So, but yeah, our whole everything froze up. I thought that I thought that Mike's computer went down, or his phone, however he's communicating with us. I thought that went down, and no, it was us. Isaac sends me a message like, is something going on? Like my internet just dropped for no reason. It's like, yeah. Something happened. Yes,
He shuts you down.
that's it. Where are my notes at? Where the hell? Okay. Now.
Well, I hope Mrs. Super Horror Show enjoys the moment. So.
Yeah.
She's gonna be pissed, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible too because Mike says, "Well, do you have like an EMF reader or anything like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mrs. Harshall knows where all that stuff is." Like that's not my show. When we go out and we're in nature and stuff, and there are, we'll call them anomalies. I'm very at home in nature, so she's like, "Oh, this is interesting. And these things are interesting." But I'm going to go and put my hood down and I'm resting on a tree. And she, well, like what if something is dangerous? And it's like, then when that thing sees me here resting, it has to consider whether I am more dangerous than it is. I'm not worried about it.
Dude, there's so many predatory nature spirits out there. You're just making yourself a better hors d'oeuvre when you do that.
Maybe. But I also, see, what did they say?
I'm under the belief that everything out there wants to eat you. So that's how I go into every situation, that something out here is going to eat me. So
sometimes another predator is like food that doesn't run away, but runs towards you. I also like to eat everything. Like that's how I see it. It's like, so you are an animal or whatever and you're going to run towards me. You are taking a big chance because I also like to eat and you're not running away. So that makes you possibly easy food. Now, I don't go kicking bees' nest. I'm not a fool. Like, I won't go into a haunted place and take a nap because I understand, like, well, I am going onto your property. But in nature is my home. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I belong. And I recognize
when you enter into something else's space, you give up a certain amount of your own energy when you go into a place. So, and you make yourself more vulnerable by doing that.
Yep.
Especially when you go in and you haven't been invited in. It become more dodgy. By the way, that I don't know if you saw the show where I showed the piece of Marie Laveau's tomb. I put it back in the hex box, but I didn't put the box back in the room where I store everything at. Do you know where the box is right now?
Where? Next to you?
About 5 feet from me.
Good job.
So the room is somewhat charged. The box is hard for any energy to escape out of that box. So if it does, it's only a minor amount, but it could be enough that it causes something interesting to happen to. So.
All right. So with that said, I don't remember exactly where we were, but I do know where I was. Oh no, we were talking about the serpent and the rainbow. So
yeah, Wes Craven's The Serpent and the Rainbow.
Yeah, and you were saying that this is a good way to. Or a fairly accurate but dramatized, Hollywooded up depiction of
heavily dramatized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of
but it's
voodoo practice.
Moments that are very real in it, especially when you're talking about the Bakor and what they're capable of doing.
Okay.
Or when you during the time in which the film was made, and the film was made during a time of great unrest in Haiti at the time.
Okay.
And the religion was being used against the people by Duvalier and his people. That you saw what few Mambos and few Hungans who did not flee Haiti, they stayed there to continue the good fight. How repressed they were and how quickly they would be executed when they were found out. It's a tough movie for somebody who knows the history of that country and who personally knows people who came out of that, because the man who taught me the ways of the faith and brought me into the faith, he was one of the ones who escaped Duvalier at the time, and came to America. And his stories would make you stay awake for days. The stories he would tell you, the things they would do to you. Bad stuff.
All right, now this is where I was going next.
Yeah.
And I wonder, Well, I mean, you're saying that it's one thing. I was actually about to ask. I had it written down already. One time I had brought this up to you, and you gave me an answer, but it was like a 2 sentence answer, and I was hoping to get a couple paragraphs out of you. Okay, and this thought was actually not my own. This came from a comment, I think, on one of my videos, or it came from somebody that sent in one of their true encounters. This is what they were thinking, and I was like, that's a very interesting thought. I think I'd like some information on that. How much of the cryptids and the supernatural and the paranormal, how much of it do you think is tied to the government testing things or disguising itself, like Bigfoot possibly being a super soldier that is cloaked in this appearance, so if anyone sees it, like, they'd be marked as crazy. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that is a possibility, but as far as in the world of Bigfoot is concerned, the
Well, no,
hairy
I don't.
bastard, yeah, the hairy bastards were real,
No, I
and
don't
aggressive.
mean like I'm not like exclusive. I just used them as an example, like, because there's so many things, lights in the skies, you know,
Okay.
people saying they've seen aliens and ghosts, and these things, these labels that we've given them, they don't identify themselves. So
I think aliens are more of a government, because I will tell you what, out of all the things I've experienced in my lifetime, and I've seen, felt, uh, encountered a shit ton of crazy shit. In all my time, I have never seen a UFO. I have never had an alien encounter. Um, in all honesty, and I'll be honest, and I'm glad you asked that question. I think aliens are bullshit.
okay,
There, I said that aliens are bullshit. I think that really is a government thing. Um, I do believe in time travel, on the other hand.
okay.
And I do believe in parallel realities and other dimensions, on the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So when people
that,
say they saw aliens, you think that they are looking at like some government trial run, or could they be seeing a ghost and they just miscategorize it? Like, someone that doesn't believe in ghosts sees a ghost, they say, "Oh, well, that's an alien." Like, do you, or like, if someone is very
exactly.
religious and they see a ghost, "Oh, well, that's an angel, that's a demon," but it's
It's not any of the above. They're
labels that they
applying their
accept.
experiences and what they want to see.
Mm-hmm.
They see what they want to see. That's one of my favorite lines. They see what they want to see.
Okay.
And the government knows this, that we see and believe what we want to see and believe, on whatever stimuli is being focused upon us.
This is so
Uh,
crazy. I don't mean to cut you. I'm so sorry, but I've
it's
had this
okay.
conversation so many times with Miss SHS. I told her, I was like, it's from the Santa Claus starring Tim Allen.
Yeah,
Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing. You see
that
what you
is
believe in. That's literally you. That's how you categorize it. Oh, well, I don't believe in A, B, and C. I only believe in D. So when I see this thing, it must be D. You will go and bridge the gaps in evidence to make it fit what you believe.
exact. It's like when people see faces in clouds,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. It's just a cloud, but they'll see somebody's face in the cloud. Um, it could be a remnant of spiritual energy floating through a house, moving through the house. But when they look at it and they'll go, "Oh my gosh, that's grandma. What
Yeah.
else could it be?" Well,
Yeah.
it could be anything else, but to them it was grandma.
Yeah.
You know, because it wasn't hostile, it was relatively friendly, and it was bright and beautiful. So it must be grandma,
All
the
right.
spirit of Amy.
We just got Amy, Princess of Power, in the chat, and I just want to go ahead and say hi and then let you know the reason why the title, nothing makes sense right now, is because during the beginning of this, not there, we were like 40 minutes in, and everything crashed, and it was insane. These videos will be stitched together later and re-uploaded as like a single unit, even though it's not something I like doing because we lose the live chat then. But we are going to do that because this is absolutely nuts, and it happened live right here in my house. And Mike the Naked Bigfoot is in his house somewhere on the farm, and I'm up here, in my cabin on the mountain, and it was absolutely nuts. But I'm glad that you're here, number one. But number two, if you're like, this doesn't make any sense. What's this title? What's this thumbnail? None of this. I desperately had to get everything back together to to continue the stream. And I also want to say,
felt so bad.
because we have a bunch of people in, and I don't know if they're the same people as before. I will be connecting to Mike's channel. He has many 1-hour conversations about specific topics. He had lycanthropy and all kinds of. It's good stuff. I watch it when I'm not busy in the evening and it's live. I am there live, also asking questions. He takes questions from the audience. He uploads them live, so it's not some pre-recorded thing where he's just like talking. If you have things that you want to ask or say, you have the opportunity. You also have the opportunity.
It's all real time.
Yep. You also have, unless something comes out of a box or touches your internet or something like that. What the shit, man?
Oh shit.
Yeah. But all right, we have a question. Let me go, and I'm glad that it was posted again because I had forgotten after everything that happened. But it was the Jinx again. They've heard of crawler stories in the woods, and they are wondering about crawlers in the city. I want to take it a step back. When people say crawlers, because we were just talking about how people assign labels to things based on previous expectations. When someone says crawlers, are there like different types of crawlers? Like,
let me explain that by using a quick analogy. I promise it'll be quick.
Sure.
It's like what people use the term poltergeist now. It used to be a poltergeist was a specific thing. A noisy spirit, a specific type of spirit. Now the word poltergeist is being used to describe something that happens in a home, paranormal that happens in a home, that they don't have any other explanation for, that moves something or interacts with something in the room. It's now being labeled as a poltergeist, whether it's a poltergeist or not. Same thing is true about crawlers. That was something fun. I need to do a show on that because I actually have some great stuff in my diaries about crawlers. Crawlers, the notion of crawlers is not something new. It's the stories of the crawlers have been around, and for things that are in the category of crawlers have been around for a very long time. There are the night crawlers, which are wood spirits that are really weird looking. There are things that resemble Gollum that people are seeing now that I believe are some type of tulpa that appeared in various that have been manifested from various creepy pastas on the internet, like the rake, the siren head, and other creepy pastas that had enough people that believed in them that they gathered. There were things in the spiritual world that gathered enough energy up and manifested themselves to look like these things. But a true crawler is usually found a creature that can be labeled as a crawler or a night crawler, or a night elf. That's another name for them. Are very unearthly looking. They're semi-predatory. They're usually found in very forlorn and abandoned properties or abandoned buildings in both cities and rural settings as well. People still see them in some of the older woods and older parts of the woods. Night elves are also known as Maris. And so if you take the word night from night elf and the word Mari, you have night Mari, which is nightmare. Because the original and classic night crawler, the Mari, were known to induce
suffocation.
Well, yeah. They were the stuff of nightmares. They would come and visit and produce nightmares. So, sorry, I had to do a quick history lesson on what a classic crawler was, though.
Yeah. And you did say that though they will inhabit abandoned or forlorn buildings, like even within city limits. So it is. And
if they find you interesting, they'll follow you home. If they find something about you interesting, they will follow you home. Or if they find something about you that they're fascinated by, they will follow you home. And that's the scariest part about dealing with them, is that they will follow you home. Not to scare anybody.
All right. If we don't have any other questions, I'm gonna let it go here. And like I said, I'm gonna stitch this together. And honestly, it's gonna be insane because essentially it's gonna cut from one to the. It's gonna cut off, and then the next thing it's gonna be like, oh my god, what was that? Uh, Kind of like they do on TV, but
But
that's
this
the
is
way it
real life.
happened. Yeah, that's the way it happened. I'm very happy that this happened this way because I'm gonna call bullshit on Skinwalker Ranch way less, like way
Well,
less.
you can still call bullshit on
You
Skinwalker.
know, I feel a little bad right now though, specifically with the cell phone thing. My cell phone's never done this before. Look at that UFO over there. Whatever. Like,
And
okay.
then you found yourself saying the same thing. So.
And then yeah, it's like my cell phone. Now it wasn't glitching like there's like they would do, where it's like that's a very strange sort of thing. It's like tapping all the buttons, whatever. I don't know.
Your
But
shit just shut down.
yeah, my stuff there. It's like it acted in a way it had never acted before. It froze up. This is not something that happens to my phone. And normally, if there was some kind of connection problem, whatever, you know, you just get that connection error. That's not what happened this
Ghost in the
time.
machine, dude. Ghost in the machine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have some questions. What kind of cryptid is Jeepers Creepers? This is a pretty good question because he eats. Do you know? I mean, you probably know.
If he was a cryptid, if the creeper was a cryptid, I would think that he was a revenant or a ghoul, um, because they eat people to sustain their body, especially if they were a revenant. Um, Revenants are only active during certain times of. No, now we're talking about a paranormal predator. We're talking about a revenant
Okay.
as less cryptid.
Well, no, no.
Something that's more.
I mean, if you line it up with, we use the words that are the easiest, right? The ones that come the closest to us. So a revenant would fit better.
Yeah, a revenant would fit him better, much better actually.
You said that does the revenant also respect a timeline like the creeper does?
Yeah, they do. Revenants, and that's probably where they got the idea from, to be honest with you. Somebody got a big book of forgotten lore, and they found the story of a revenant. But revenants are only active during the times of while they were alive, and then during the period in which they were dead and in the ground before they rose again, and they are not active. Say when they were buried for 6 months, and that means when they rose up, they would only have 6 months to walk and feed, and then they would have to be inactive again for 6 months. It varied from revenant to revenant.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of villages had interesting ways of dealing with revenants. It gave birth to a lot of vampire rumors too, and a lot of vampire stories when the revenant rose. So.
All right, that was cool.
Which a revenant is classically known as a vengeful spirit, but it wasn't about vengeance. They always would remember the people they knew in life, and if they were nearby, they'd be the first ones they'd go and eat. So.
All right, that was awesome. I can't right now. I'm thirsty. I need to lay down and watch some TV. Like,
is your mouth dry? Do you feel a little dizzy?
yeah, I drank all they probably heard it. It was probably very rude of me, but I downed like an entire can of seltzer water like all at once. Like,
you need some Gatorade, dude. You need some electrolytes right now.
So yeah, I'm gonna go.
You're probably gonna get the biggest case of diarrhea tonight, June, you've ever had.
I hope not. I have a very.
Well, it's a side of ghost sickness, or spiritual sickness.
So
sometimes you get a raging case of explosive diarrhea. So I'm just joking, by the way. I'm just seriously joking, right?
I mean, if it happened, I would tell you, but it's like, oh, my diet's very clean. I work very hard to but like.
Well, I didn't want you to have Mrs. Parso to sit in the bathroom with you and try to record you having.
Oh no! This is ghost poo. Please stop.
Video it, honey. Video it. He said that I would have diarrhea, and I'm having diarrhea.
Oh man! All right. Thank you all for coming. I do recommend that you go to Mike the Naked Bigfoot's channel. You have to type the whole thing out, otherwise YouTube is not going to send it to you. It's this cartoon avatar of himself, so it looks kind of like the thumbnail does. I do, I guess,
I'm
apologize.
the only Mike the Naked Bigfoot on YouTube, so it's
Yes.
not hard to find.
Yeah. Well, no, if you type the whole thing out, it's not hard to find. But if I go
Yeah.
ahead and accidentally type out Mike the Nailed Bigfoot, it still doesn't show up. It's like, how did this not?
There's a lot of Bigfoot porn out there too, so you gotta make sure you type it all out.
Yeah, that's true. Make sure you put that specifically into the YouTube search engine.
And not Google.
Yeah, we don't want to see his you on Pornhub. Oh no, Mike the Naked Bigfoot. How many subscribers? Oh man.
I'm on OnlyFans, by the way. I'm not on Pornhub, so.
Oh yeah, you know the upper crust. Gotta make sure people pay what they owe. Oh man, thank you all for coming. Thank you for those that came twice. This was nuts. I don't even know what to say. Like if you want to go and do a song and dance real quick, to take us out, whatever.
Well, no, I just want to say I want to thank you, number one, for having me on. I appreciate the time that you spent with me. I'm sorry that shit happened, but it does happen, so I have no control over it sometimes. I want to thank everybody who came out to hear me, and I want to thank everybody who goes to my YouTube channel to see me. Love you all. I appreciate you all. I do take both criticism and positive feedback, so it does not hurt my feelings. And I will answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Right on. Until next week, everyone take good care of yourself, and I'll see you then. Start the stream right. This should trigger a stream right now.
What is she going to be pissed about, if you don't mind me asking?
That she missed it.
Yeah.
That she missed it. All right. I don't even know how to find what I'm doing right now. I'm not even kidding. This is so crazy. I'm going to go right now into here. That's us. It says we're live right now. Okay.
Okay.
It says we've been live for 20 seconds. I have to find the stream. This is not something that I'm particularly good at. And to be fair, it's on private. No, this needs to be fixed. Details. Private, no. This is going to be public right now. Thumbnail. You gotta be kidding me. Freaking YouTube. Every like I just want you to do it. Like, please just do it. Just do it right now. All right, now it's public. I'm going to push all the buttons at the same time, and that's going to make it work. Cuz no, seriously, this is wild. I hope we can get some people back in. If not, what's going to happen is I'm going to I'll stitch them together. And then people can see, like, you know what I mean? Like, everything that happened live right there.
They probably should, because it can be entertaining sometimes.
Yeah. No,
or it could be a nice opinion too.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. How do I get this information to myself? You know what? I'm going to press this. This is not at all what I normally do. We're going to turn this down all the way.
You can't help it.
Okay.
Dude, you can't help